Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good day for everyone. So in this lesson, I would like to discuss about the usability and user interface design. User interface design is very important in application that we're going to develop in whatever project that we're going to do. So the concept of usability is basically to ensure that the product that we develop is usable to the people, and then people can use that particular product effectively and efficiently, and also friendly for them. Okay, then I will give you a few guidance how to come up with the very good user interface design. So what is usability? So usability basically is a quality attribute that assesses how easy user interface are to use. So the main key point here is a quality attribute. And then the next term is really very important here is easy of use. So the quality attribute that we can use that to measure either our interface is designed properly, which is that can be used by user effectively or really friendly to the user. So easy of use is a basic concept that describes how easily user can use a product. So you can see in the modern application or in the evolution of the product and so on, the interface of that product is really facilitate user to use that kind of product efficiently, effectively, and properly. Because of that kind of attribute, that kind of quality of attribute, then we can come up with the proper interface of the product. Okay, the interface is really important because whatever product that we build, if the quality attribute or the usability factor we not calculate into that project, or we not consider into a certain project, so the product, how good the product is, so the product won't be used by the people. So these are the very important factor that we need to know. Okay, David MC Quillens, so ex-Swiss banker and founder of Sufferfest Selling Workout Resource. So he come out that usability is about human behavior. So it recognized that humans are lazy, get emotional, are not interested in putting a lot of effort into it, and then say that they have a credit card and then generally prefer that they are easy to use versus those that are hard to do. So human basically they are want to have all those things easy for them. So they are not, sometimes people feel emotional to do something that not really important for them. That's why when we come out with the product, we need to consider the usability, because human behavior basically is really lazy. So to ensure that all those product that we have developed friendly to the user, then we need to come up with the proper interface, so then user can use properly, and then we can motivate them to use our product. So IBM said that easy for use may invisible, but it essential isn't. So the easy for use is really invisible. We do not know, and then but we need to identify from the user based on the process of design thinking that we have gone through. Then user give to you non-functional requirement, most probably all those non-functional requirement is we can consider as a usability. Okay, so these are very important factor for us to understand. So there are 5 methods that we need to consider in the usability, which is first easy of learning. So whatever that product we have come out, we need to ensure that people easy to learn about our interface, our face of the product, so our instruction, so they can easy of use. Then beside that, another things that we need to consider is easy of remembering. So that's why the language of the product, or the language that we need to use in the product, is very important. Let's say that we buy something from China, so the language in the product interface, product faces, which is most probably they're written in the China language. But when the product transfer to Malaysia, so they need to change that interface, because the dialogue, the language, it must be ensured that it's comfortable to that particular races or particular country. Certain country, they may have a different language and so on. Not all people in the world are using the same language, same dialect, and then same metaphor, same symbol, and so on. So this we need to study. But however, we must ensure that whatever we come out is all those symbols and so on can be remembered by the user. So this is very important. Okay. Then fourth, which is effectiveness of use. So usability is very important because of it will identify or will ensure that. So by designing a proper interface, then we can come out, we can motivate user to use that product effectively. So, and then last but not least is to ensure that, when we design the interface or design the system or the product, so we must make sure that so they are really testified by the user. Okay, these are very important, because at the end of the day, that we need to fulfill the requirement of the user. So these are the principles that you need to understand how to come up with the very good interface. First is a layout of the product or layout of the screen. The interface should be a series of area on the screen that are used consistently for different purpose. So in the layout, you must ensure that a consistency in your design and in your language and so on, also navigation and whatever. So you need to be consistent in the layout. A content awareness, users should always be aware of where they are in the system and then what information being displayed. Sometimes user can lose from your system. That's why you need to create the awareness, some sort like dialog box, bar, and also in any sign that to aware the student that aware the user that the process currently being done or currently in progress and so on. So the awareness is very important. Third is the principle of usability is the aesthetic value. So the interface should be functional and inviting to the user through careful use of white space, color, font, and so on. So aesthetic is based on the some system or some project or some product is based on the they have their own corporate feel and so on. We need to fill up that requirement based on the aesthetic. So aesthetic value is very important. So because one company to others company it may different, one country to other country may have a different aesthetic value. But you must have knowledge about that, how to come up with the proper interface for that particular user. Okay, for example, those user in age 4 until 6 years old, which is they have a different understanding, different knowledge about that user. Maybe user in the age of 40 above, they have different. That also can be considered as an aesthetic value. So fourth is about user experience. So this one is very important also. So whatever design that you want to come out, you need to review, or you need to know, you need to understand your user experience. Either your user have enough experience, or currently what kind of application that they are use. So those experience might be affect your interface design. Okay, then consistency of the design, and also another principle is very important is minimal user effort. So you must come up with the very easy user to use, very simple user to use your application. So please look at step by step. If your step taken much time, so then you need to consider to remove a certain step in your system and then come up with a very simple interface, simple process, which is user just put only minimum effort to use that application. Okay, so these are a few guidance of graphical user interface design. First, user must be in control in our product. So whatever that you develop, you must to make sure that your interface, your user can control that interface. Okay, consistency, the dialog box, the word, the colors, icon, and so on must be consistent from the first page of your interface of the application until the end of the system. So the style, the graphic, color, and so on must be consistent, and then you must choose a suitable color for that particular application, and so on. The consistency is very important. Then personalization and customization. So this is another aspect you may consider, because some user they have a different experience and so on, so they can personalize your application based on the function that you provide in the application. For example, Facebook, you sign on the Facebook have their own interface for that particular user. Of course, the icon and so on same with other people, but so those content inside the Facebook is very personalized. Then beside that, we can also consider to customize that graphical user interface to the user. That's why sometimes you can see in the certain website you can choose language. That is a part of the customization, to customize in other language. Then sometime in the page that you can choose a style of you present the layout in the interface. So then user can choose, can customize based on their own requirement. So it's good if you have a system or application that can customize those application, those function to that particular user. So it's good to have. And then another concept is another guideline is you must have forgiveness. If user do something not right in that particular application, you can forgive user through the process. For example, they click wrong button in your interface, then you can give some feedback, and then you can allow user to redo or to undo the process. So these are the process of forgiveness. Okay, so then also feedback, whatever transaction you done in the application, you must give feedback to the user. And the last part is aesthetic value and usability. You must to make sure that whatever that you propose must be usable for the people. So these are the few guidance for you to come up with the proper interface. Okay, so I hope that in the process of developing application right now, you can consider a few guidance in your project, and then hopefully that you can use this guidance or this principle to come up with the really friendly interface, and then consider all those aesthetic value, consider also the usability value. So in the next video lecture series, I'm going to discuss about 10 principles of usability, and then based on that you can really fix your interface or come up with an interface with the proper interface, and most probably it can be accepted by all the users. So please remember that interface is very important for you, for the product, for the project, for the interface of the system, because it will be ensure that whatever that we develop are fulfill requirement of the user. So those guidelines that I give in this video series is very important. So I hope that you can discuss in a group and then to come up with the better user interface. Okay, with that, thank you very much. See you in the next videos lecture series.